Right, I've prepared the next 2 pages with this beautiful floral paper, and I just hope that I can remember which way I'm going to put this together. So if I look on here, I've got a very thick motif and exploding design. So I'm going to keep this one reasonably plain. So I'm going to do a pocket, and what I've done is I've taken an A4 sheet, scored it at 11 and 22, and I'm going to, hasn't glued in, I'm going to line the inside of the pocket. Now I want the pocket so it opens upwards and I can put things in there. So I'm going to put a thin tape down these edges. It depends what sort of where you get your inspiration from, and I must admit most of the inspiration on this one has been from the actual wording. So, my hands are getting rather cold and it's difficult to get the tape off sometimes. If I get much colder, I'll get my pricking tool out. Right, so I've lined the inside and I'm going to fold that up, but I'm pushing it in slightly so that this is raised. I want room to put stuff inside. Okay, now I've taken this piece and die cut it. I just want something so that I haven't got a white sheet when you open the pocket. So I'm going to stick that one in. And that goes onto there. Right, so that is a nice pocket, and I'm actually going to fix that one in now. So this is the back of the pocket, so I'm going to put 3 pieces across. Gone over to the finger lift as my hands are getting so cold. And remember that I want it opening upwards. So that is going to go on there and stick down. Okay, right. Here we've got some pieces. Now, I've taken out, excuse me, 3 of the wording. Thank you for being you. You're blooming lovely, and it's time to celebrate. Now, let's have a look at what inspired this one. So, I've now got friendship isn't a big thing, it's a million little things. So it's going to give you chance to put in the pocket all the little things that make your friend so special. Okay, so let's go this one and set the inspiration going. Now the little pieces here I'm going to mount onto green, and the one that we're going to use on this side is going to use 12 by 12, but there's going to be 4 corners that you can use to back these. Okay. So I think I'm going to go double-sided tape with this one. So this is a flap going on there. That's going to open up and our pieces are going in there. So I've just chosen 3. There's others on the USB that you can do, or make your own up. So there's thank you for being you. I think the green is the only paper that I haven't used off the USB, because I needed a 12 by 12 to do the next piece. Okay. So, you're blooming lovely, thank you for being you, and it's time to celebrate. So I'm going to slot those in there. I'm going to have to tuck them down so that they don't interfere with that. So friendship isn't a big thing, it's a million little things. Now we're going for the big one that is on this facing page. So I'm going to put that out for the moment because I need quite a bit of room. Right, my measurement I'm going to do here is 9.5, and I'm going to score 9.5 centimetres all the way round, and this I've cut down to 28.5. So let's move that. Scoring tools disappeared. Right, 9.5. Nine and a half. 9.5. 9.5. Scoreboard can go out the way. And I'm just going to fold these over. These looked slightly short. Check that in a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take out these 4 corners, and it's those corners that you can use to mount up these. So there's no waste whatsoever. So when I've got a score line, I will cut in the middle of the score line. I'm going to save those. If you wanted to do the full 12 by 12, you could cut your motifs bigger. But as I had, let's have about an 8.5 die out already, that was what I went for. So most of you will have seen exploding boxes. So this is just based on that. I've got a piece there that needs to just come out. So these will fold over there, and just want to make sure I can see that there's a little bit there that's catching. Okay, so we're going one, that clears there, that clears there. And that clears. I want to make sure that they will all fold in. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to just trim these a fraction. You can tell when you see them just folding up a little bit there, you can tell whether they need a trim. My hair needs a trim. Right, so make sure everything is folding in. Okay. Right, the centre of the exploding panel is going to be my wording. So I'm going to take that and place that in the middle. And a friend is one of the nicest things you can have and one of the nicest things to be. So you're certainly going to be a nice friend when you give this one away. There we go. So that's that one. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. Okay, and let's see, I've got 2 pink and 2 white. So the pinky salmon, if you remember, matches the back of the spine of our album. Get it up the right way. There we go. And the pink opposite, and you'll see when we put it in the album it will pick up the pink on the pages as well. There we go. And we've got 2 of these. I'm going to put the lightest one up there. They look spectacular, but when you break it all down, most of these techniques you'll have already used in your card making and scrapbooking. So there we have our beautiful exploding box. So let's fold 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to put one here I've cut a bit smaller than all the rest. And that one's going to go on there. The black always makes it look dramatic. So turn it up the right way, and that's going on there. Okay, so here is our exploding box. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look what happens. It pops up. So we're going to add a little bit of ribbon. So before I fix it into our album, I'm going to choose a ribbon that is going to put a bow on there. Right, I've decided to go for this ribbon, which is what I've used on all my little tags and things. So the first thing we want to do is to turn that over, and I want to put a piece of double-sided tape across the middle there that is going to anchor my ribbon. I'm going for the middle. Never cut your ribbon too short. Okay, so that is going in there. It will tie onto there. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to put another piece of tape across the ribbon, because that is going to be our strong fixing point. Don't want to pull the ribbon and then find it's going to fall apart. So, yep. Right, let's go for probably the middle there, and we then tie a little bow on the front. Be prepared to fiddle with your bow to get it right. So I'm now going to trim it. Don't trim it too short, because somebody's got to be able to retie it. Okay, if you do it too short, they're going to be struggling with the loops and things. So that is a nice one. So we have friendship isn't a big thing, it's a million little things. Little cards inside that are just cards of encouragement. And then when we open this one, beautiful. A friend is one of the nicest things you can have, and one of the nicest things to be. So there we go. Doesn't really matter which way it folds up, but you should be able to then be able to tie your knot. And have plenty to play with. Okay, right, let's have a look. Here's next page, which is the pink page. Right, so we now come to these pink pages, and I chose a longer piece of wording here, and I've cut everything to fit that. Now I've got the thick piece on there, so I'm going for a plainer piece on here, which is going to be this one. So peel off my wording, and burnish it down. Now it's come, some of the plain stuff's come over there, so I'm just going to trim that off the way, off that piece. There we go. There's a tiny bit here. There we go, so nothing's sticking out now and showing. Right, I've cut a mat to go on the background. well, I can see a tiny bit I've left there, so I'm just going to take my knife and just pull that out from there. Right, I've now made like just a normal card. So this is going on the inside of my card, and I've cut it so that I've got just a little bit of white all the way round. So on the inside of the card goes this. Okay, slide it in. Little bit of wiggle room. Straighten it up. Okay. Now it's a bit popping open, so I'm going to smooth that down. Now I've cut the same shape for the front. Okay, so what I've got now is a mat for the front. So again, that for the front piece. Thank you for being my friend. I will add some flowers to this at the end of the album. Place it on there, and I've also got a magnet. So I'm going to slide that on there. I want to slide a magnet under the front, and I'm sticking it under that scallop. So I want to take my tweezers and just push it underneath there. You need to have this sort of fixed to get your magnet in the right place. Otherwise you can't aim it. There we go. So, there. So it's now aimed. Got a little bit of excess glue there. There. So that's aimed under there. Okay. What I need to do now is to find out magnets in north and south. So I want to throw that onto there, and I know then that that's the right way up. I'm going to put some double-sided tape on it. There. And I'm then going to just get my tweezers and fold in the edges. What I want is a rough piece to just glue this in the right place. There we go. So I've now got a little bit of the matching white, and I'm going to take my scallops. Oh, that'll do. You haven't got a corner rounder, use a large scallop scissor. Now I want to place that onto there, and then I want to fold this over to the back. Don't need too much on there. So I'm now going to put double-sided tape. I'm making a little closure . Right, check this is still in the right place. onto the back, and there is my closure. Okay. So we're now going to stick that in our album. Making sure that I go across that bit, make sure that's reinforced, and I'm coming across this end as well. Okay. Right, so that was the thick side. This one, move that over a bit. That one is on there. Right, now what I want is something to go on there. So I'm just going to turn around and get a little acrylic gem. So now I've got the little acrylic gem, which is going to go on there, which is making my catch. Okay, so there we have that, and I'm going to add some decoration on there with the finishing touches of our album. Right, so the next one I've got is we're going to do a similar thing with magnet fixings. Okay, that is just going slightly skew with. So I'm going to fix that again. Just get that right. There we go. So remember when we put the piece of card going round there as a fixing? Well, I want a similar sort of fixing on this one. So I'm going to stick that onto there. And all of my tape is going across that downward piece to make sure that it's not going to move. Yep. So this is going on to there. Right. Okay. Now what I've done here is I have made some of these circles that were on the USB. I've got "Have a lovely day," "Thinking of you," "Best wishes for you," but the other one said "Happy birthday." So what I've actually done is cut a fancy die cut, and so under there it was birthday, but I wanted this to be a general album. Okay, so that is going to be my last circle that I put on. This piece here is going to link all my bits together because they're going to cascade down. So I'm going to put "Have a lovely day" on this one. So I need a small amount left there. And so it's easier for me to put my double-sided tape on here. Now I'm not going all the way down to the bottom because I might need to fold that back. There we go, pull that down a little bit, and yeah, I can stick that down. Right, so now I'm going to place this one onto there. Okay, we're going to tidy up the backs later on, Then, so have a lovely day. I've got best wishes for you. So we take another piece of double-sided tape and leave the same gap there. Now this you can stick any amount of die cuts on there. So I'm leaving, that's going to come a tiny bit too far. So I've got my best wishes for you. Make sure it's fixed well. Now this next one you can see is only just going to catch that there. Right, so what I'm going to do now is stick the next bit by overlapping here, but I don't particularly want anybody to see that bit there, so I'm keeping the overlap just down. Now we need this to end with a flap showing forward, so we're going to fold, fold. The next one will be that way, and I've got my last one to go on. So take this, place this one on here. You need to make sure that the, don't want it to go down that far. Make sure that the album is working for you. Yep. Right, thinking of you. There's that one. And we now need to fix our last one in place. One who finds a faithful friend finds a real treasure. Now this one we want to cut off the extra. So I'm coming down to there. Right. And we're going to fit that on. That is the last one. Okay, so I take this now, pull that back a bit, and I want to trim that off so it's not seen. Okay, so let's fold that and fold that. Crease those down so that they're going to fold where you want. Right, one who finds a faithful friend finds a real treasure. Okay, so what happens when they open it? They can see all the back pieces. So we're going to open it out. Obviously this one doesn't need anything because it's fixed down. So I have die cut some pieces. You need to match your scallops, otherwise it's going to look wrong. So going to there with that one. I'm going to turn it round so I can work from this side. Now, what you could do if you wanted to go overboard is you could put a circle on here as well, so that when you see the backs, you also have a pretty picture on there. Okay, and we're going for the last one. Which fixes on there. Use the same die for everything, so it's all going to be matching. You can put those aside. Right, so what I've done now is just cut out some pieces from matching paper that I used for the pages, and I'm just going to cover the backs so that everything matches in. Now I've got two that are fairly light patterned, so I'm going to put them mixed in so that you've got light and heavy patterns be alternate. Right, so that one's going to go that way. Ideally you'd leave a bit more time between these to dry, but just so that we can get on here. Now remember we put this flap in ready, so now I'm going to mark that to there and just cut that off there. I'm going to just round the edges off a little bit deeper with that one. Yep. And then I'm going to add another magnet. Okay, so I'm just going to lift this up. There we go. And I'll get a couple of magnets. Now always slide them apart. Okay, so never try and pull them apart, you'll break them. So I'm going to, in there, put glue on both sides. Slide that in. It doesn't matter which way up it is at the moment, it's very slippery. So we just need that glue to go off for a moment, and I'm going to push that so it's not showing. Right, what I can do now is to take the next one and let it go on there. It will automatically attract to the one underneath, and what we need now is a little bit of double-sided onto there. And take my tweezers and fold this in. Doing this way, you'll get it in exactly the right place that you want it. Then I can fold my flap down. It takes the magnet, and then you can peel that, and the magnet is in exactly the right place. Okay. Right, I've got this little piece left over here, and what I'm going to do is to just put a piece on there and seal in the magnet. I've got some coming in the post that are self-adhesive magnets, which will make life a lot easier. So, turn it round. So that's just done that, and that now is another catch, and the whole lot comes down. Okay. The magnets are strong enough to hold all of that. So thank you for being my friend. And this one who finds a faithful friend finds a real treasure. So we have this double page left, which is a nice pale green. So we're going to look at that next. Okay, so we're looking at these two pages, which we're almost at the end of our book. And what I've got this time, slightly different, but I've got a little poem I use when I'm sending perhaps a cup of tea to somebody that needs a little bit of lifting. So it's a cup full of blessings I send your way. This special tea has come to say that you are thought of with love and care and kept in many a daily prayer. We pray your heart is always light, that God is with you day and night, that whatever you do and wherever you go, your blessings cup will overflow. Okay, so I'm going to attach that to a little black mat that I've cut. There we go. And this one is, the two pages are working together. Okay. So we're going to place that onto there. I'm going to print off some of the flowers from the USB and start decorating through. But what I've got is a couple of sealed tea bags. It is important to get the sealed ones wherever you can. And all I've done is I've worked out that if I do 2 lengths of the tea bag plus a bit to fold over, that's going to make me a little pocket to put the tea bag in. Okay, so I've scored down to give myself a little bit to fold in, and I need to cut out a couple of the bits. So I'm going to cut down here and just in. You can work to whatever size tea bag you've got. I'm just making these very slightly slanted. Don't want to cut too much away. And then down through. So there's one. For the moment, I'm going to just cut down the edge. So I'm going to fold that up, fold the edges in, and then I'm going to put glue down these edges. Right, so open it out, put those in, and then in come the little clips. Two. And we're just going to set that aside while we do the next one, because we're putting two tea bags in this on this page. So again, we go down, very slight slant, and then where the flap is, tiny slant down again, and we're going to fold in edges, fold that up, and in those couple of minutes that's enough pressure to take these off now. There we go. And I can now fold that down, and I think I'll measure it. That is 7 across there, so if I come in 1.5 from that side, 1.5 from that side, and if I'm very sneaky, I can place that on top of there, and cut that side. Right, so let's cut both of them together so I know they're identical. Right, there is our little flap. Let's just check that our tea bag goes in. Yep. Okay. And I've got a couple of the motifs here, and a couple of the black mats. There's one. Two. And when we come to these, that is going to fit exactly onto there. I'm sure you're saying that when the flap goes down it's going to cover my design. Actually, we're going to tuck the flap in. So there we go, like that. Right, now I'm going to pop that in there and just fold that over, and I'm going to just cut that a bit shorter to make it easier. It's better. Pop that into there. There's one. You can make it fit whatever. And now they're doing coffee bags. You could add coffee bags in there. So there we have 2 tea bags. There's a little gift inside here. Let's make sure they're up the right way. I think I'm going to put double-sided on there. Let's check there's the opening. And there is number 1. I think we're going to have to overlap slightly onto there. And number 2. Onto there. So then we come to the last page of all. Okay. So this is our last double spread, and I wanted it to end on a really good note. So I have here a little prayer. May God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile, for every care a promise, and a blessing in every trial. For every problem life sends a faithful friend to share, for every sigh a sweet song, and an answer for each prayer. Okay, so I'm not sure where this album will go at the moment, but I've got plenty of friends that would be a perfect little bookmark. Now, with the album, it includes things like notelets and things, and this is another little bit that you can take out. Okay, so how to fix these in. What I've done is I've prepared 2 panels. So I want to go 1 panel there, 1 panel there, and on this side will be a little card, and this side will have this bit. Now, because my verse was quite big, I'm not going to make this an actual pocket. I'm just going to make it so that it's fixed on this piece here. Okay, now that's rather plain in itself. I don't want to interfere too much with these flowers. So what I've actually done is printed off this paper, but at a smaller percentage. So I now have a little ribbon piece that has got the same flowers, but just smaller. So it makes more of an impact. So I'm going to prepare the 2 bits together. Now what I've also cut, and one's disappeared, that must have been it, is 2 pieces of black, because I want to put a tiny black edge onto there. Now I think I will stick to plain because this is rather a decorative edge. So I'm going to fix on, this is a new roll, there we go. It's amazing how much double-sided tape you can go through. So I prefer to be more accurate with my cutting than placing it down. With macular degeneration, if I look at something for too long, it will go out of focus. So I tend to do things that are reasonably quick. So we're now going to use this side. And putting a small edge down there. Right, I'm now going to take my scissors and trim off the excess. I already know that it's the right length. So there's one. Trim off the excess top and bottom. And because I want this edge to be the focal edge, I'm going to cut off the black here. Could have used black both sides, but it wouldn't have looked right, so that is what we're aiming for. There, so cut off the back piece there, and we bring in the 2 decorative pieces. Doesn't matter at the moment which way up they are, because we haven't put them in the album. So that one is going to go on there, and all I'm going to do is take off that piece. I'm going to come in just a fraction with that one. So this is quite rigid because of the different layers that we've put on there. And I'm going to put that one on there. Okay. There we go, and again I've prepared just one strip. There. Right, okay, so I've already prepared this one. I've just put it onto a rectangle of lilac, which actually came from the piece that was left from cutting off these two bits. There was a strip in the middle. So let's slide that into there. Okay, then we look at this bit. Now I wanted to do something different, and one of the verses that I had was lives are pieced together, stitched with smiles and tears. So many different patches come together through the years. Each patch holds memory. It's stitched throughout, you see, with friendship ties that never break, and comes with love from me. Okay, so I decided that that is one that I usually use with a patchwork card. So I have taken a piece of lilac paper. I've punched out lots of squares. I have a, I think it's a Fiskars punch. Just go and get it. It's a squeeze punch, so that I can just put it on, squeeze, and I can do tons of little squares. So that's what I use when we're doing the patchwork cards. And this one I've used so it looks like a patchwork quilt, but obviously because we're covering the middle, you don't need to work on that. So I'm going to centre that up, and now I have die cut a black mount, and then I've just cut with a guillotine a matching piece that will go all the way round, which will bring in the white, so the white is leading through. It's nice with the black writing. So let's assemble that piece. You can see I don't find it very easy getting pieces intricately placed. The nearest I can say is that my horizontal hold has gone and any straight lines go wiggly, so learn to adapt. Right, so now I have a piece here. I could put it on the top and have a flap, but I just want to tuck it inside there. And if you remember, we haven't made a proper pocket, it is just a flap. So that's another way of attaching things. So there is our last page. Okay. So as we get towards the end of our album, I just wanted to flick through. I've lost a bit of the video, but I have added some extra flowers on here. Some extra ones on here that I was going to decorate, and the odd two on here. So there is a completed album. When I stand it up, you can see why we needed those extra bits between the flanges. So I do hope that you'll have a go. For those ladies that are part of the Craft Oasis group, I think we'll go for 2 weeks to do this one, and I will follow up with a very short video next Sunday, how to take the skills that you've learnt doing this one and make it for things like notebooks and things, so you can start preparing gifts and things for through the year and even for next Christmas. Okay, so don't think that it is just for albums. All right, I'm going to show you a lot more techniques of how to use all of these skills, but this is a good way of practicing. And don't forget, any card will do for the outside so long as it's sturdy, and any pieces of A4 folded will do your centre bits. After that, it's whatever you've got in your stash to decorate the pages. Okay, so please do have a go. I'd love to see your results. Okay, and I'll catch up with you later. God bless.